a portion of our consciousness is controlled by the body when we're in the body. That's what, like, when with the different states of consciousness, right?
Yes.
They're like when a channeler is channeling, their conscious state is moved and they're less aware and less conscious of the body. And the body plays less of a role in the consciousness that's happening,
Okay.
right? And so as the example, so to be embodied and be here in this space, we there's a level of control and influence that the body has on our consciousness. So even
Yeah.
though we exist without the body, when the body is no longer a factor in our existence, right now we're choosing for the body to be a factor in our existence. And so it can influence our consciousness with this protector thing that you were mentioning about the level that our mind protects us,
Yes.
right?
Hmm. Yeah, what's come to me is that, say, right now I'm looking around my room and I'm just seeing walls, curtains, furniture, nothing else. But in reality, actual reality, it's layers and layers and layers of other spectrums of light, of beings, of dimensions, of this and that. And it's all there, but my mind is canceling everything out except, what I understand to protect me from overwhelm. I'm not sure. So I'm kind of wondering the correlation between my mental state and that. And like being embodied, I guess, helps turn that dial to feel, if you're feeling safer, then does that mean that you're more open? You're more available?
Just from what I've noticed in myself, that the more safe I'm able to feel in my body, like the more my, so let's talk about the body. We're going to refer to the body as an animal in its animal state because that's right.
Hmm.
Certain parts of the brain, from what little I've found out or whatever, actually turn on and off when that's how the body protects us, the mind, right? Is that when our body reaches a certain level of fear, it turns off the part of our brain that might be able to perceive things,
Yes.
right? The information of the to be able, so if I'm too scared, I can't open my third eye or whatever and look around and see those other layers that you're talking about. But if
Hmm.
I feel safe in my body, I can be aware of my body and I can see some of those other layers and travel to those other layers because that part of my brain, the physical body of my
Oh,
brain
is
is at
calmed.
is I have access to it.
I see what you're saying.
S-
Okay, so feeling safe allows those doors to be open because it is no longer just focused on feeling safe.
Yes. Well, okay. So, I mean, I'm not one of those scientist people that have done all the things. It's just been my own experience and what little, like, even Peter Levine, when he's talking about it and stuff, the animalness of the brain that makes fight, flight, freeze, whatever, those shut off and make it so you can't access the logical part of the brain. So it's almost if you thought think about it with the chakra system, if the mind is the chakra system, when you hit those fear, okay, so you have up to the heart. The heart is where everything can blend, where you can maybe be in your body and be aware of like spirit and everything, right? You got to get up to the heart to be able to get to a certain level of psychic acceptance of reality.
Hmm.
Okay. And so to access the third eye and stuff and go, up those higher chakras, um, when you're the door to those higher chakras and even your heart shut when your body is in the animal state of fight, flight, freeze and stuff.
Right, because the survival chakras are the lower chakras.
Yes. And so there's a certain threshold that door is like closed. So it's the protection thing that you're talking about with the mind, right? Is a very actual gray matter ability. The door to certain areas of the gray matter can't even open on a physiological level in certain states of physical body reactions. Because so it's not just the mind that we're dealing with a lot of the time. And so to expand our awareness, we have to feel safe in our body because those things that we can have the ability and are inherently true in reality, like we're protected, but it's that in order to be able to peek into those doors, we have to know how to cause our body to feel safe. You can't just, I don't know, if you could feel safe when you're learning something new, if you feel safe in your body, you know, then that makes it so that it's a deeper, like better. Is that making any sense? Like, am I,
Yes.
so if I'm learning how to cook and I feel safe and nurtured learning how to cook, then it's okay to make mistakes. And the thing with the whole perception of the energetic realms and all these different areas of layers of reality that you're talking about, if we feel safe being curious about it, if we're not correct when we're learning to try and perceive those things, then that's okay to be incorrect as we're learning to perceive those things. And
Okay.
so it allows us to be open that door more.
Okay. So also for the purposes of this conversation, so it sounds like a lot like when like Joe Dispenza is talking about bringing your awareness to the quantum field and like having a meditation practice, although the mind wants to continue to jump in because it's uncomfortable letting go. So that's why meditation is a practice because you're teaching it to learn that it's okay to let go. How would you correlate this with
How
work in the body?
nervous system work with the body. So with that, it would be, well, what does meditation and doing that and letting go feel like in the body? It feels like really relaxed, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Right? And so if you were to not worry about the mind and just focus on relaxing the body and not having fear in the body. So if you first focused on relaxing your body, which actually focuses the mind, if you first relax your body and then started using your psychic gifts and your mediumship and being curious and remote viewing. That's why they say relax,
Okay.
right? Like, so, okay, so what's coming to me about that is if you imagine your pineal gland and the muscle, like, and they say, I've heard whatever, I don't know how correct it is, but that there's these hairs and stuff coming off the pineal gland, and that the
Hmm.
pineal gland's like the receptor
Hmm.
of the energetic stuff, right? And so if the area around all those receptors and stuff, like let's just imagine it as a muscle, a nervous system and stuff is as a muscle that affects that. And so if our body's relaxed and all the fear is gone from our body, then the area those are able to sense more and pick up more and receive more. But if there's any fear in the body, then there's like they're maybe limited a little bit, or some of them can't even move at all, or there's areas that are blocked because of the fear in the body.
Interesting.
Did
Like,
that answer your question there? Or like did that correlate the
yeah,
correlation there?
it just sounds like it's the same thing. If
It
the
is the same
body
thing.
is under stress or even perceived stress,
Hmm.
so is the mind.
Yes.
Therefore, it's more limited because it's just dealing with that.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're in a constant chronic mild activation, mild fight, flight, freeze, then it is limits your awareness because your mind's not, yes, yeah, what you said. Yeah.
Okay.
At least
Okay.
that's just been even just my own experience of being present and all that kind of stuff.
So basically, your suggestion for this is having more awareness of your nervous system and regulation level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because your body, your soul, like, and so on an energetic perspective stuff, right? Your soul, when it's really deep in your body's really relaxed usually. And it's like when your soul's really deep in your body, I just did a little, but it's okay to move slow. It's okay to be slow, to just sit and like your body's super regulated. When your soul, that's why when you're really regulated, there's all this joy and you're just everything's so amazing.
Hmm.
Your soul's there. Your soul's like, this is freaking amazing. This is great. This is awesome. I love this whole thing, everything that's happening.
Hmm.
Right? And that's why all these like they're like the gurus or whatever. Like what do they say about like being calm and what it, right?
Hmm.
It's not to say that they don't have the animal reactions of the physical body. I'm pretty sure that if one of the whatever name that I don't know, someone name one of them. If a tiger was coming out, he's out there meditating and a tiger is just attempts to eat him, that his super calmness and everything is gonna not exist while his body is reacting to the threat. Pretty sure that his soul aspect of himself turns off and his physical animal body takes
Oh,
over,
survival, all of the survival mechanisms would immediately take over.
right?
Yeah.
And so, but we're here like as the animal.
So, yes, I see. Because most likely, most of us are unaware that we are in that state more than necessary. I
Yes.
mean, like with stress, I think Joe Dispenza also said it. We're not meant to be in that state for longer than just a short burst of time. It gives us the energy to run or fight or whatever.
We're here in the 3D, man. We're animal. We're like a freaking cow,
But we
deer,
have
whatever.
become so used to being in that state that we are in that continuous state of also being unaware because we're fixated on this physical. Is this threatening to me? Is this not threatening to me? You
Well,
know,
uh,
what's going on? Like heightened awareness of survival.
we're too much in the mind.
Yes.
We're not enough in the body. And so by if if we have the analogy of the pie, right? If we can operate where 50% of the pie is awareness of our body and 50% of our pie is awareness of the energetics around us, and the soul, the other information of reality that we are able to operate in, or maybe even 40% on the body, six, right? So throughout your day, the awareness fluctuates.
So for the people that wouldn't understand or this is new, how would you explain making that shift into being more in the body? Outside of just like nervous system regulation, how do you go about your day focusing on being in the body? Is it just as simple as I'm focused on physical sensations, like my hands are touching, this blanket feels soft, or is there more?
Or my hip joints are a little bit sore. I'm hungry. Um, Irene Leon says that about regulation. So it's just, so for someone, it's like, what's my body doing in any given moment? Is it, can I be calmer?
Okay, so say I'm here. Okay, so
It's
I'm
just
paying attention.
checking.
My muscles feel a little tense in this area. Okay, this feels calm. So it sounds like it's actually more simple than it seems.
It's extremely simple. What I think, so for someone that's new, it's acknowledging that you're a freaking animal. You're you're an animal. You are a spirit in a body, and the body is an animal. And you need to pay attention to the animal. If you have a dog, your or a cat or whoever, right? You feed it, you exercise it, you make sure it's getting enough rest. Treat yourself like an animal, except you get to feel if there's pain somewhere.
Hmm.
Treat yourself like a pet because that's kind of what you are. You're a soul
Interesting
having
too.
a turn in a body. You're a soul in a body, and your body is now your pet. Just because you weren't aware and control of some things, and now your pet has all these stored information in it, it's like a biological computer. You get as your awareness increases, it's like you got a rescue dog. What happened to that rescue dog in its environment before? Any trauma? Maybe the dog was attacked. Maybe it got run over by a baby buggy and it got a little hurt even though it didn't die. And now it hates baby buggies. All these, that's you before you rescued the dog. And you rescued the dog as your awareness increasing. And so now you get to reprogram and help the dog because you're more aware. Now you get this, which is the rescue dog.
Hmm.
That's a fun analogy, right? I mean, does that kind of
Yeah, it is because it helps illustrate that because
it's
say, okay, going with the rescue dog, you learn these behaviors, you watch these behaviors, and then you work on fixing those behaviors, teaching new behaviors. So it's helpful to make it seem or like to show that you do have the ability to correct those behaviors. Just because I have this symptom or because I have this particular emotion stored or something, like there's something that you can do
well,
to
yeah,
help
you're
yourself.
not powerless. It's not permanent. Peter Levine says talks in his book Waking the Tiger, which I never even finished, about how trauma years later can show up in a way that seems totally unrelated through little behavioral things and all these types of the human experience, the entire is minor and major traumas. Let's just until you reach the level of consciousness and awareness that you become the rescuer of the rescue dog and the observer, life is just like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, there's no right or wrong, but it's just been what I've been experiencing and kind of the shifts that I've been making. I'm much more inclined to look after my body when I think of it as an animal. And I think of it like you know, it I'm borrowing it.
right.
It's
Yeah, you're
it's
just,
me. It is me. I am this, but I'm more, and have control, and it's a biological computer. It has this program. I can shift the program. That's how people heal. It's just a program. You can erase, and then in which case that type of thing just comes down to one's knowledge of and perception of reality or whatever, and belief. In which case, all that, what's possible, what's not possible, all that kind of stuff comes into play, right?
mm-hmm. Okay. So going back to you were explaining consciousness and talking about, okay, so say channeling. And you were talking about being able to shift consciousness and like at one point you're unaware of the body. That's like trance, right? You make that move
There's,
over.
hmm
How does that, trying to figure out how to ask the question, but that can only work in a relaxed state of the mind, but also means relaxed state of the body as well.
right. Well, and so there it comes down to trust and knowing yourself. If you're afraid and haven't sat in the body and sat with yourself enough, then you can only get as far as you've sat with yourself and know yourself and been with your own soul and allowed your soul to become friends with your body and thus your body to be able to hold the high frequency of love. And so the nervous system is fear triggered, and fear is the opposite of love. And so in order to go deeper into the trance, your body has to feel safe with that higher level of love. And that higher level of love can trigger people because it doesn't feel safe. They don't know what it is. And that's why you don't just suddenly start doing a deep trance. You, for yourself, even, we've worked at it. You've
Hmm.
worked at it in a mental way, in a body way. And you can do it probably in a mental way, right? But to do like maybe that extra little level, this other thing needs to happen probably. This next level of deeper work with the body, work with yourself needs to happen.
Okay, because I've heard of people describing
I
it
mean,
as,
that,
say, I'm doing this or I'm going into meditation or I'm doing medium shifts, so I'm blending. It's turning the brain off, like your conscious mind off. But it sounds like you're not saying that. It's not turning off, but it's calm enough to set aside and allow for a different vibration. It's not
yes.
off, it's calmer and set to the side. And it will not do that if it is under still in that hyper state.
Yeah, it's so what I'm getting about that, because it's not necessarily just is that you, it's not that your mind isn't off, like you're saying. You're actually hugely focused on spirit, on what is coming into you, but you're not, your body feels safe. And so, because your body feels safe, your consciousness is not as tied to the body. That's why with astral projection, real like deep astral projection and sleeping, the body is sleeping. So in the deep trance states, that's all that's happening is the body, the shifting consciousness and stuff. The body is safe enough to um sleep. And your mind is so focused on blending with the spirit and that you're focused on the spirit. You're not worried that the consciousness is maybe not knowing what the spirit is doing with the body. It doesn't care. It's just happy to be with the spirit to such a fully extent that that's all that it is occupying it. The person's consciousness is the blending with the spirit, not what the spirit is doing in the body with the body.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So the consciousness is not off. The consciousness just doesn't give two shits about anything other than the joy of being with the spirit. It really doesn't care. It's like, whatever. I trust. I feel safe and always. I trust and feel safe that spirit is going to come and do what they feel they need to do. I feel safe that my body is not going to suddenly shit itself
Okay.
because
That makes sense.
I'm just totally blending right now. Like we're just chilling. Yeah. That's good. That was good. I'm glad we recorded that because then I can look at it because it tells me about how to further my own trance development,
Hmm.
right? And so my question to them before we go is if, because I worry like, oh, you see the people and they're closing their eyes, but like right now, my eyes are open and I feel the deep level of blending with the spirit, right? But I actually feel more safe to have my eyes open. But that doesn't impede how much that they come in and the level of consciousness that I exhibit. Or like the trance. The trance, just because the eyes are open, doesn't mean that I'm not in trance. just because we're still working together, we're still being together. You're still focused on us. You're still allowing the message to come through. It's still just because your eyes are open. So if you were to close your eyes, it requires even more safety feeling. Okay, so I can even edit that out. I feel when I close my eyes, my nervous system reaction, right? I
Hmm.
so yeah, like right, yeah. Just because my eyes are open and I'm blending with them doesn't mean that I'm seeing with my eyes. As my consciousness goes, I can trust that I'm just because it's almost like instead of focusing on them when my eyes are open, it gives me something to focus on. And so that my conscious mind actually becomes more focused on what I'm seeing and less on what I'm saying and less on what is happening with the spirit. And so it actually gives my mental focus, consciousness a distraction. And so the eye closing, the distraction becomes the spirit and moving to the side. It doesn't matter what way you move to the side, so much as that you move to the side. That'll be interesting to watch. I don't know. Okay, do you have any
Yeah.
questions about that?
I mean,
Um,
yeah, actually, I kind of want to, but not on Zoom, right? I'll wait till our session is
it's over because it's 4 minutes. Okay, we'll end it then.
okay.
Do it up.